the 27th verse that we last covered. We learned that we compared the comparison of Chaishravas and Airavata. He said of the horses, no mares of Chaishravas, born of nectar, of lordly elephants, Airavata. So these Uchaishravas, Airavata, in the next mantra, he's going to talk about Kamadhenu. So when one takes the spiritual journey, the spiritual journey begins like any pursuit of any sattvic happiness. It begins as poison in the beginning. So any sattvic happiness is poison to begin with, is nectarine in the end. On the contrary, any material pursuit is any sensual pursuit, any sensual indulgence is nectarine to begin with, but it's poison at the end. Elsewhere in the Gita, it is said that any enjoyment born out of sense contact, they call it as wombs of sorrow, dukkha yonayaha, a womb of sorrow, womb suggesting that it is impending sorrow. That is the trademark of any false happiness. You may call it as rajasic or tamasic happiness. We also compared the perks and benefits, the Uchaishravas, Airavata, Kamadhenu. We also learned goddess Lakshmi and all other perks that came when the gods and demons were churning the Milky Ocean. We compared that to when you pursue the higher path, the lower comes as it were to come and test you, as it were to actually check your real resolve. Are you really interested in the pursuit of the higher? Do you still maintain an attitude of disinterest in all that the lower that comes to you? So we learned that a spiritual journey is to operate on the principle of deserving rather than desiring. So when you operate on the principle of deserving, deserving is nothing but not to ride on the desire. That's the best way to understand. Desiring or desire is to aspire or seek the object of desire. Deserving is you rise above the object of desire. We always say the path of deserving is opposed to the path of desiring. In fact, you can almost say one is the dharmic path, one is the adharmic path. The dharmic path, the path of dharma, is to go beyond the higher, beyond the desire, seek something beyond the desire, seek something other than the desire. So when you rise above the object of desire or rise above the desire, the object of desire seeks you. This is the law of life. On the opposite of that is, as you pursue, as you keep seeking something, it keeps distancing more from you. I don't know, is there a law that substantiates it? I don't know whether it can be justified with a scientific argument. The more you run behind something, the more it runs away from you. The more you want respect, you don't get respect. The more you want money, you don't get money. The more you want something, you don't get it. The moment you turn your back towards it, it comes to you. Means the moment you are disinterested in it, the moment you drop the desire, that's when the object comes to you. A shadow, you're right. Shadow is an example only to make your point. But what is the reasoning behind it? Why does it happen? Yesterday, sometimes you take so many things for granted. Sometimes you know the rationality behind it, but how do you establish it? Yesterday, somebody came to me and she was asking me, there's an upcoming interview, and she wanted to just come and clarify a few things. And I was explaining to her the concept of conscience. And I said how conscience is the common factor in all human beings, and the conscience doesn't change in all human beings. She was asking me, what is the authority of that statement? Where can I get in the Shastras which says conscience is the same in all beings? For a moment, I was scratching my head. So where is it said? You are right. I said, through the study of the Shastras, through the study of the Sanatana Dharma, you gather it. And then I said, conscience is a messenger of God. Who coined it? I said, I appreciate your questioning. I don't know. I don't know whether I coined it, whether it's my coinage or not, but conscience is that which guides me to the higher. Conscience is that which points me to the higher. There's no other factor which tells you to go on to the dharmic path other than the conscience. Everything else takes you away from the higher. Like that, what is the rationale? We all have experienced it, isn't it? The moment you turn, in fact, the law which says attach, you lose, detach, you gain, that's there. But if we can understand it in any other way, I don't know. But it works. So, and I kept hearing from many people, more so from a person which I really looked up to, and he always used to say that materiality is a byproduct of spirituality. Byproduct, you may have heard me using this coinage once in a while. Byproduct means which is not required. It is waste, it is scrap, it is unintended product. So materiality always is an outcome of the main pursuit, which is spiritual life. So what it only meant, and yet if you look at life in history, you look at life of great men. Shakespeare didn't have money to pay his rent. There were many people who chose to live in utter poverty. They were very happy with living with meager means. Then you may say, sir, what happened to that wealth? Why didn't wealth come? They may not have chosen to live that kind of a life. But what I'm saying is, what am I saying, Gayatri Ma? Very intently you're looking.
You were mentioning that, when you chase something, it doesn't come to you, and like when you let go of it, it comes back to you. And material, why Shakespeare and other people didn't choose it because that was not their priority. Like
Byproduct of spirituality, right? Materiality is a byproduct. So what it means is you should not keep that as an object of pursuit in life. So the fact that you pursue it, it itself puts you on the lower cadre. Ilya? And we also mentioned that when you churn the mind is a milky ocean. When you churn the mind, when you spiritually evolve, your mind becomes pure. In a mind which is pure, which is devoid of a desire, which is free from want, a mere sankalpa can get the object of desire. But in a mind which is full of malice of desiring and wanting, the object of desire always eludes you. You can't cheat the law, isn't it? You can't go against the law. So desire, the object of desire, goes away from you. The moment you keep your mind free from the object of desire, the object of desire comes to you. But when they come to you, what should be your resolve? As we learned, keep pursuing the higher. Keep pursuing the self to a point where they almost, as if they never appeared in your life, as if they never existed. That kind of a resolve we gathered. Yes, Hariji?
So the law is to gain anything, you have to lose it.
Ama.
That is one. And here I have a doubt. As you think, so you become is another law. So is there any contradiction between these two laws?
One is attach, you lose, detach, you gain, right?
Yeah.
The law of attachment also says, as you think, so you become.
You become, yeah. So there is any contradiction there? Because when I have to, that is the power of thought. As you think, so you become. Whereas the other one says, if I am after something, then I will lose it.
Almost contradictory, yeah.
Appears to be. I don't know. I thought I will ask.
Interesting question. So I hope you all got the question. The question is, the law of attachment states, attach you lose, detach you gain. Now, another law of attachment also says, the more you think of anything, as you think, so you become.
That is the power of thought.
Yes, as you think, so you become. I keep thinking of
becoming
self-realized. No, see, self. Again, it's an object of thought. Whatever you think, you become. No,
yeah.
You think of music, you become a musician. You think of gambling, you become a gambler. Think of philosophy, you become a philosopher.
Yeah.
In that sense, a law of attachment.
Yeah.
Right. There are comments. Wisdom is flowing. Please write down everything. Setuji.
Western self-help books and all a lot highlight you be 100% focused and anything your give your best and intensely you will achieve it. So all entrepreneurs are encouraged to give their 100%. And there are a lot of case studies and stories, autobiographies, which says they all became what they are because they were 100% after them. That a little contradicts this statement, but at the same time, maybe they ultimately suffer. Whoever is after lower desires, and they do achieve But again, it eludes them, or they lose them, or they even think why they struggled all this to achieve, because they feel it is a knot at the end. But they do get it initially.
So I don't know. Have you answered Hariji?
No, I have not answered Hariji. My just this thing is, whoever has been a success story, they all say they gave their 100% and they were after it. But at the same time, now with this knowledge, my feeling is ultimately they are a big loser, and they come to know much later, and it is not worth it. And it for what they have worked for, it goes out of their hands.
No, you are independently very true, but am I audible? Okay. No, but I want to clarify what Hariji is asking.
See, Setharamanji, if I am after self-realization, and I totally 100% my thought is at self-realization, and I am sure that I will get realized. In that case, I am not going to lose anything. On the contrary, I will gain everything by self-realization.
No, I am talking of, you are talking of a higher.
Of course, of course.
See, you are after money, and you give, you are after it, you can make money.
Yeah.
It is not that money will not elude you.
No, that is not my aim. No, I want to only earn my money.
No.
What is the consequences of earning the money is a secondary chapter. Primary thing is that my thought is always on money, morning money, afternoon money, evening money, and I put in my best effort to earn money. And I will learn. That is what the Shastra says. What is the consequences of earning money is a separate thing. Any terrestrial thing that I am earning, that is going to end only in sorrow.
A consequence is the ultimate. No? Ultimately, you seek lower, you lose. You seek a higher, it will you will achieve, and it will remain with you.
No, even if I think of the lower, I will attain the lower. That's what the Shastra says. As you think, so you become. It depends on what you want. You may require higher, I may require lower. And I will learn it afterwards. When I realize that the lower doesn't bring me the required happiness.
Yeah, I think we are just bringing the context of happiness. It's sort of getting deviated.
Yeah,
but
sure.
if we stick to the original point which you said, the point is when you say attach, you lose, detach, you gain, that holds good. At the same time, we also say the moment you think of anything, you become it.
Yeah.
So it is contradicting to the first statement where you say attach, you lose. And here we say attach, when you think of something, you become it. So how do you justify this apparent contradiction?
Yeah.
I think if you stick to this without bringing other facets into it, then we will be able to address bring clarity to the question. That's precisely the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, sir. Yeah. So let's hear the more comments coming in. Gayatri Ma.
Guruji, what I feel, when you say that, attach, you lose, that means you are getting attachment. It's a mental quality. Whereas when you say that, like what you think you become, that time we are so focused, and that is the goal in life, whether it is self-realization or a top position or what it is, that time your intellect is so much involved that you're focused, and in that process also we are segregating and removing quite a lot of things. You do sacrifice all your other attachments. That is a goal oriented. When you say that what you thought and you become, when you say you attach, you lose, is something mental quality. It is something too different is what I felt. That is goal oriented, and this is all attachment is all emotional. It is.
So you're interpreting the word attachment differently there?
Yes, attachment is something where you're emotionally attached to the other things and all, which is not at a goal oriented. You are not attached to some when it is a goal, it is something to which intellect conceives it. But attachment is not a intellect quality.
The mother is attached to the child, she becomes a child. Where is intellect there, ma? As you think, so you become is where your thoughts are going. It doesn't necessarily has to be an intellect playing a role. I'm giving an example. A mother thinking of the child, she's attached to the child. A person is constantly thinking of business, is attached to business. One is attached, thinking of money, he is attached to money. Where is intellect there? It's not intellect. Attachment itself has no role of intellect. It's just a process of thinking.
That's what I'm telling. Whereas when you say that, what you think, so you become, in that there is an intellect quality in that. But whereas when it is an attachment, there is no intellect, but only emotional. When a mother becomes a child, she definitely uses her discriminating power, everything, and she becomes the child.
When we say mother is attached to the child, there is no other thought other than the child in the mother's mind. It is not that it is a highly intellectual exercise and the mother is keeping the child. It is highly
emotional. It is highly emotional.
That is exactly what I'm saying. So where is the role of intellect when you say?
There is no role of intellect in attachment. No. I'm telling that there is a role when it is a thought process, there is an intellect. In attachment, there is no intellect.
So what is the law of attachment? As you think, so you become is the law of attachment. Leah? Isn't it?
Yeah.
The second statement, as you think, so you become, is also the law of attachment. So there, as it were, under the bracket of law attachment, there are two schools of thought, and which are apparently contradictory. You get it? You may play an element of role to channelize your thoughts to a particular object or a particular goal. But still, what is happening? Your thoughts are being directed to it, you become it. But on the other side, we say the moment you attach to something, you lose it. The moment you detach to it, you gain it. So how, when the thoughts are being impinged or thoughts are going to an object, on one end we are saying you become it, on one end we are saying you lose it. So there is a contradiction on that ground. Apparent contradiction, obviously, is what is being clarified. I'm only clarifying on behalf of Hariji. Because I also feel that's what it is. Yes, Shivaji. So this proves something wrong with the persons and nothing to do with the equipment. Sethuji?
Maybe Guruji, this attachment you gain, detachment you lose, may not, maybe it's a corollary or it has come later. There are so many proverbs which contradicts each other and by words say, and it is being generalized and applies to everything, which is not correct. It is there in every language. What I agree with, because your terminology, attachment itself is negative. So attachment means leads to suffering and this thing. So that this thinking and as she says, I agree with Gayatri Ma that so what you sow you get is all applies to higher. This applies to lower.
Okay.
So this
Right.
being generalized, maybe it is on.
We will hear from Sitama also, but let meanwhile Hariji clarify to what Setuji said, perhaps.
Pranam Guruji. Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
what you think you become. So broadly, I'm saying if you think to become a spiritualist or if you think to become a materialist, that is where your efforts will go in that direction. So let us say you think you want to become a materialist, you become a materialist. And once you have chosen the path of materialism, then whatever you pursue in that path, initially it will elude you and then you will get it, whatever that attachment to that thing, to the object of pursuit. But you have to first decide what is the object of your pursuit. So that is what you think you become. If spirituality is the object of your pursuit, initially you'll be faced with a lot of tests by the thing eluding you. If materialism is your object of pursuit, initially you'll face a lot of obstacles to whatever is your object of pursuit. So both are not really contradictory. They are a series in the same path.
So you brought about a happy marriage.
Everyone lives happily.
Yeah, well said. Yes. Yeah, Hariji. Thank you, ma'am.
But it will be very difficult for us to differentiate thought from attachment. Attachment itself is defined as a thin stream of thought. And when the thought flow becomes stronger, then the attachment becomes strong.
When the flow of thought becomes stronger,
then the attachment becomes stronger or the desire becomes stronger. When the stream is thin, thought flow is thin, then the attachment is thin. Whereas if we continuously keep on thinking only about it, then the attachment or the desire becomes stronger.
okay. Let me see the comments that flew in the chat box. Jama says to gain the higher, you have to lose the lower. As you think again, think higher, you become higher. Now more contradiction is coming. Shantima, you get what you deserve, not what you desire. Also contradictory. Arey, please add to the confusion. Srinivas Reddy garu, could you join little late? The confusion is now beyond, from the beginning at least there's possibility of solving. You came little late, you can't solve that problem. Yes, Shantima, tell us. But we want to understand what you're asking. Can you please speak, Shantima?
Can you hear me, Guruji?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, the confusion is like, there is a saying, you get what you deserve, not desire what you desire. So it's like contradicting with the as you think, so you become. So it's like contradicting with the first statement.
No, in fact, you get what you deserve, not what you desire, is in line with attach, you lose, detach, you gain. So desiring is nothing but attachment. Deserving is being detached.
Okay.
So you have to understand that through that law, which says the more you attach to something, you lose it. The moment you are detached to it, you gain it. So that is being that could be understood or explained through this law of deserving and desiring. So replace the word deserve with detach, desire to attach. Same thing.
Guruji, I can give example. I can run behind materiality, but I may not able to get it. I can run behind something, but I may not deserve for it.
Okay. There can be more than one reason why. Just because you desire it, you should not have it. No, not necessary you have it. You don't deserve it means you may not have, perhaps you may not have put in the effort to get it also. That sense also you don't deserve it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But you may have put in effort, maybe in this point or in some other context. So you're being rewarded. Sometimes you say, what have I done to this project to be recognized? But you perhaps would have given so much elsewhere. So the law of karma comes back and rewards you here.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense, you have put in a lot of effort. May not be in a known way, in an unknown way, unseen way, you have put in a lot of effort. That way the law comes and gives you back, isn't it? In that sense, you can say deserving. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So Baji, you say one law is for spirituality, one law for materiality. I hope it is that easy that way. We can compartmentalize all spiritual laws, all material laws one side. I don't think so, sir. The law should hold good at every level. Whether the same law would be applicable at the spiritual level, at the material level. So it should, I don't think that's the case. Sudhakar, statements are not controversial. You can think, but don't get attached. That means you're detached. Shivaji, we don't agree with you. You may connect from whichever system. Ramji, the attachment might be referring to attachment to the fruits of action. Which context?
Now, when we say attach, you lose, detach, you gain, I felt that if you are so much attached to the fruits of your action, then you might actually not get them. In the sense that you must be detached. This is what actually it says, that you do your efforts, but don't get attached to the fruits. And the fruits you will get depending upon what effort you made or what you deserve. So I think, I thought the first one is like that. As you think, so you become, has a, I think it is more negative in connotation, in the sense that if your material desires are very high and you are thinking only of them, or your emotional attachments to, let's say, wealth or people or power and things like that, and then you are only thinking of that, then you become that. Like example you gave of a mother and child, that's a very simple example, but you think of the real big ones where people think only of money, or people think only of power, and people only think of those, they think of those things because they desire those things, and then that becomes a kind of, you become that. That means a slight variation in that will lead to stress, and you will go off the track. And we have seen such things happening, that you become that, you become money, you become wealth, you become gold, in other words.
No, but as you think, so you become can also be in a positive sense. It's not necessarily has a negative connotation. It doesn't mean it is only to the lower. As Subhashi said, maybe it's for material things. No, I don't think so. If you think of this, if you think of the self, you become the self. So we give an example in the context of explaining as you think, so you become. If you throw an iron ball into a furnace,
Yeah.
we said very soon the iron ball becomes the fire. So it loses its characteristics of iron and gains the characteristics of fire. It becomes it. So what are your thoughts that's consuming you? If you think of family, you become the family. You think of wealth, you become the wealth. You think of business, you think of business. Means you start worshipping it. That's what it means.
Correct.
So it
But
doesn't
it's,
necessarily limit it to lower, sir.
No, sir.
don't think we can limit it.
I was limiting it only because these are laws of attachment. Attachment by itself is negative. Attachment doesn't refer to higher objectives in life. At least
No,
that's
but the second statement, as you think, so you become. Why should you interpret negatively?
because both the lines are part of laws of attachment. So I took it that since it is one of the laws of attachment, I'm saying that it is referring to the negative things. See, if it is if you are like Ananyaschanta yantomam yejana paripasate. I mean, if you are single-minded devotion to the Lord, that is a higher purpose. There
No.
we are not
In fact,
calling it attachment, right?
sorry, you're shooting in your own leg.
Hmm.
Because you shot yourself. I'm sorry to say, by quoting Ananya Chinta, you're only explaining law of attachment to us clearly.
No, sir, but that is for a higher purpose. It is not for.
Therefore, what is the difference between a person getting attached to anything or a person worshipping Ananya Chinta, which is to the higher? What is the substratum of that substantiating that argument? Isn't it as you think, so you become? Ananya Chinta, I'm consistently thinking of the goal, I become the goal. That's what that mantra says.
Correct. But here, then I'm the limited way I'm looking at it is that both these lines are part of laws of attachment. If your higher purpose is there, it cannot be a part of law of attachment. That is the way I'm looking at it. Because attachment by itself is negative. It is more emotional than anything else.
No, but then in the example or the reference you give Ananya Chinta, it's impossible to maintain that single pointed attention without the role of the intellect, as Gayatri Ma brought it.
Correct.
So it is qualified attachment. You're influencing, it's not just the mind impulsively getting obsessed with something, it is being directed, channelized through a governed process. You're governing your thoughts towards a specific object, like a single pointed. There's Shantima would agree, because I think she's only one from Malaysia. I don't know anybody else there from Malaysia now in this class. Shantima, don't you agree that in Malaysia, there are three races there? There are the Chinese, the Malay, and the Indians. The Malays, Muslims, obviously, they worship Allah, Islam. The Hindus worship the multifold gods and goddesses. The saying amongst the other two races, Chinese only have one God. And what God is wealth. They're very clear.
Yeah.
They only worship money.
Correct.
So they are so single pointed morning to night, whatever they do for that. So they are the affluent lot. Even in Malaysia, you find they drive the economy. They are the industrialists. They are the successful people because they are very clear in their mind what they want. Whether they are right or wrong is secondary. We're not going into that. But their point is so single minded that they get it. So they are also engaging perhaps a very clear objective. They are ruthless in what they want. They get it. So as you think, so you become. So everything you do, they only talk materiality to you. They can't, there's no question of any other scope of discussion. They bring in materiality to every discussion of yours. So I'm only trying to clarify, we can't look at as you think, so you become from a negative context. It should not be looked at it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe. But I felt that even the example you gave of the Chinese, we have people in India also who are like that, some parts of the country. It is an attachment to money, right? It is an attachment which drives them, and all of them will not get it. I mean, if 100 people try it, all of them will not get it, right? So because you have to do many things right to get it. I mean, if everybody on the stock market makes money, then who will lose it? You know, somebody has to lose it so that other fellow will make money. But both are pursuing the same thing. Both are attached to money. Anyway, that is just because this was limited to the law of attachment, I was arguing on that side. But maybe I'm subject to correction. Yeah.
Setuji?
Guruji, this maybe that so as well as attachment is true, but this attach you lose, detach you gain is the corollary introduced. That is contradictory. That is not a law.
Oh, that itself is not a law.
It's not a law.
Okay, sir. What is it, sir, then?
The other maybe, but attach you lose, detach you gain. I have seen is that is what is contradicting. You are after it, you do you get it.
Sir, can you give me an example in nature which actually establishes attach you lose, detach you gain? I started the class when we came to the concept by saying, can we find a logical way, a scientific way to justify what you and I experience in life? Did I not say that in the beginning? How do we establish that that experience? We experience the law. It's a fact. It's not that if it is a, because it's a law, all of us experience it at different levels, at different stages of life. The concept of attach you lose, detach you gain is substantiated by the phenomenon of colors. If you study the phenomena of colors,
The absorption it will do only.
what an object, Sanjay, you know the law, isn't it? The phenomena of colors. When you pass a white light through prism, what are the 7 colors you get? Don't tell me I studied long while ago, Sanjay.
I don't know the 7 colors specifically, but I know when you pass a light through a prism, it separates it into its visible elements.
Take a pen and write down now. The Guru is telling you the 7 colors are, right, violet, vibgyor, they call it, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, vibgyor. So the 7 vibgyoric colors, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So these all lights exist in that colorless, apparently colorless light. So when they pass through the prism, you see these 7 colors. So the phenomenon of colors further substantiates an object appears red because it reflects red and absorbs the rest of the colors. So that which it has taken, that which it is attached to, it has lost it. That which is given away, that which it is detached, it owns it, it represents it, it becomes it. So it is applicable to any object. So an object is black because it absorbs all colors, is attached to all. An object is white because it reflects all colors. So I can think of the scientific justification, how in nature you see it functioning. And in our own experience, we can justify it. The more you wanted something, you lose it. So I think it is a law, Setuji. Please consider, sir. Otherwise, I'll have to edit the book, sir. Being aware, book is printed and people are studying it. Now I have to go and edit the book. Setuji is saying it is not the law. Which is that question, Gayatri Ma? We said there are various laws which govern. In the question?
I think around 105 or some. No, when we were writing, it is 105. So it got jumbled up.
No, if it is somewhere in the end, we'll tear it off. No, we can tear it off. It will make me say we'll remove that part. It is a law, sir. It is certainly a law of life. See, perhaps the justification we can bring about to justify, there is no apparent contradiction only. But when we say, as you think, so you become, it is only to tell you the law of identification or attachment. In the sense, when we say a law of attachment or law of identification, we say where your thoughts are impinged on, you become it. So when we say the law of attachment, it is actually a law of identification. What you identify with, you become it. But when you say attach, you lose, detach, you gain, it talks about the attitude you develop to the object of attachment. So if an object or being that comes into your life, if I maintain an unhealthy or a selfish relationship to that object, now I'm only trying to bring about the difference. So I repeat, as you think, so you become is the law of identification, which we also call as law of attachment. So when you identify with something, you become it. Example, iron ball and furnace, right, sir? Secondly, when we try to explain the attach, you lose, detach, you gain, what is attachment? Attachment is a selfish attitude or a wrong relationship you establish to an object or being. So the law also says when you are selfishly possessed of something, you no more are the possessor, you become the possessed. You are not the master, you are the slave. So you already are on the losing end, you already start suffering. So detachment is an attitude where you have no possessiveness in that relationship. So you maintain the stance of a master in that relationship. So when I say I'm attached to it, it is a selfish relationship. You become possessed. And the moment you want to grab something, moment you want to own something, it bounces off. You lose it. There is no difficulty for us to understand that by itself. But if you understand it with the law, as you think, so you become, you must understand it as a law of identification. So once you identify or get into a field of activity, like as Sita Ma rightly said, you identify, get into a field of activity. Thereafter, if you are possessed, if you become possessive, you lose it. In that sense. Hariji?
In the case of attached, you lose, and detached, you gain. Does the ego play a role? And whereas in the other law of as you think, so you become, the ego doesn't play any role?
You can say so. Because we are saying attachment in the first context is a selfish relationship.
I and mine.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think it is the 54th question. What is the, which question is it? No, we're just trying to draw you to the book where there are. It is the 95th question. Question 95, page 211. There are the various list of laws. Setuji is the second law, sir. We mentioned. And then on the sixth law, we mentioned the way to gain anything is to lose it. So both are captured. We explained also through the phenomena of colors there in the book. So it's there. So clarified, Hariji? Okay, right. Shivaji?
I changed to my mobile. I think it's now connected.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, attach you gain, detach you lose.
Hello.
Right?
You change the phone, but don't change the law. Law is change
Attach-
funding. You can change
attach
the
you lose.
equipment.
Okay. Attach you lose, detach you gain.
Correct, sir.
This
Appa.
was exactly what happened in Buddha's life. He stopped doing any practices, then he attained enlightenment. I just referred it in the books also. For 6 weeks, he stopped doing anything. He never thought of liberation or any such thing, but he got enlightened after 6 weeks.
So how do you know 6 weeks he didn't do that?
I just went through some books. I had heard it long time ago. I just checked
Thank
before
you.
I could even communicate.
For
with
next 6 weeks, I'm not available. Don't contact me.
So,
No,
and
I am trying to. I'll also try that. Reddy Garu, why can't I do that? Is there any harm in trying that? Next 6 weeks, Ramji, don't contact me. I am not reachable. Because I also, nothing is happening. I'm trying so much effort, nothing is happening. I'm going to give it up. Next 6 weeks, only maja. What he did, please tell after that what he did also.
he was in a normal life. He was not doing any practices to realize.
Thank you. So don't, if
That's
you see
what
me
I-
anywhere, if you see me anywhere, 6 weeks, I have to be excused. Sir, yeah.
And this attachment business is attached to what you want to do. It's not that you become what you think. Become and think and do about it.
Hmm.
It's not just thinking, because we keep thinking about many things, but it doesn't materialize. Think and do towards it. And detachment is only towards the outcome of it. If you are already fixed in the outcome, you are not going to give your 100% what you want to pursue. So detachment is only for the outcome of it. Attachment is what you want to pursue. There's nothing wrong in attaching to that, because if you are fixed, then you are definitely, the attachment it's a problem.
Yes,
It's
sir.
not about the outcome, it's about the process. Attachment to the process or the act, not the outcome. Then it looks like it is complete in that sense.
Thank you, sir. So, Gayatrima, please title this class for the YouTube as the class of confusion. And that way we'll identify, because ashrama is adding more masala to the thing. Already we are confused. What more masala? Another contradictory statement is many hands make work easy. We say many cooks spoil the broth. To make us think straight, we'll all shift to the kitchen now. You are anyway in the kitchen. That's the reason you're taking this statement, ashrama. Okay. Hariji, please warn us before you ask questions like this. Or little precursor கொடுத்துட்டு question கேட்டுங்க. சரிங்களா? 28, please. Ayudhanamaham vajram धेनुनामस्मि कामधो प्रजनश्चास्मि कंदर्पः सर्पानामस्मि वासुकिः आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनुनामस्मि कामधो प्रजनश्चास्मि कंदर्पः सर्पानामस्मि वासुकिः. So the Lord continues his enumeration. He says, of weapons, I am Vajra, a thunderbolt. Of cows, I am Kamadhu, and I am Kandarpa, the progenitor. Of serpents, I am Vasuki. Ayu Dhanamaham Vajram. So thunderbolt is the Vajra. As I said last week, all these gods and goddesses hold some weapon of destruction. So this is the weapon of Lord Indra. So Vajra is Indra's weapon. Apparently, it was made of the bones of Dadichi. It was supposed to be unveiling in its effect as Dadiji's tapas had gone into it. It for its accuracy, Perhaps in the modern days, you can say it is the what do you call laser-guided nuclear missile, some kind of that. So those days also, Ramji, there was this nuclear or laser-guided missile was there, thunderbolt, Vajram. When Lord Rama shot the arrow, it was not laser-guided. That's what it meant. It would have gone and shot here and there. It would have gone. That's the difference between Lord Rama's arrow and the thunderbolt of Indra. How we have to interpret, make sense of it. Otherwise, now you know how difficult my job is, Ramji. Reddy Garu, 6 weeks, can you please take over? I think Ramji will ably support you, but you will be the chief Acharya.
Pranam Guruji, your book, you have to rewrite, Guruji. Attach, then I'll gain, then detach will lose. The whole thing with the 6 weeks of inspiration there.
Are you going to rewrite the book, sir?
Don't know, Guruji.
I will give you the author's rights. You can edit it.
In the modern day, will it be a practical, Guruji? What we talk about, the spirit of the law which we have. Of course, we have enough. I'm fortunate enough. My ignorance is my bliss of last 45 minutes of the discussion, but I lost out everything. Anyway, I don't want to take it further back on that. Maybe next time I will get clarified on that. I do have some points to take it up.
No. Feel free. Quickly we can justify it. Since we just were on that subject.
So, attach, you lose, Guruji, when you're saying that, when we are once again making a point that you have to attach to the higher cause, higher purposes. So if I bring that into the context, then how is that we are losing?
See, attach, you lose is to tell us to develop a right attitude to your work. If you have a wrong attitude to work, you lose it. That is what that statement says. Attach, you lose in simple terms. I'm summarizing perhaps. Attach, you lose is a wrong attitude. It's a selfish attitude.
Maybe
detach, you gain is to have a right attitude to work.
But we cannot blanketly take this clause or the law to every aspect of it, because the mind start interpreting in every domain, because we need to discipline again there. Like my mind was going, attach, you lose means suppose I attach for a higher cause, higher purpose, with a good intentions. How is that I'm going to lose? So I should stop.
No, that's why, sir, since you asked and we are clarifying, attach, you lose, detach, you gain should be interpreted as a right attitude vis-a-vis a wrong attitude.
Okay.
A wrong attitude will set a wrong relationship with an object. Again, in that context, attachment is set as a selfish relationship to an object or being. So if you are possessive, obsessively overwhelmed with something, you lose it. You should not get into an obsession for anything. That's what selfish attachment is. As you think, so you become, as we said, gives you the law of identification, of becoming something. You truly want to become something, you let your thoughts be directed to it, let your efforts be directed to it. That is what we said as law of identification, which you can always also call it as law of attachment. But one is to give it a direction to what you want to become. Secondly, once you reach that state, or once you are in it, what should be the attitude to it in that sense? So one is perhaps the second point is the get into the field of activity, what field of activity you choose to become, what field of activity you want to get into, what you want to become in life. Secondly, how you conduct yourself in life. So day in and day out, I keep thinking of the philosophy. I must confess to you, the last 30 or over years, there was not a day I didn't think of philosophy or Vedanta. If you even talk of that itself is it's truly amazing. Some of you may say this was a mad fellow. Not a single day you didn't think of it. So what does it do? Now you, beyond doubt, you all identify me as what I am because of my relentless thought towards this subject matter. So I have become what I am because of my constant thought. As Ramji said, Ananya Chinta. This thought never did it lose its momentum ever. Everything I did surrounds this philosophy, surrounds Vedanta. That is what it means. As you think, so you become. But in the process of having me become a philosopher, I must learn to be detached to everything that I do in life. Means if I've written a book, I should not arrogate that to myself. Anything that comes your way, don't have to become possessive of it and say, it is me, it is mine. That kind of an attitude, if you have, you have lost it. It's gone. The true charm, the true beauty of anything is. So yesterday, I don't know, it was yesterday, Vijay, or day before yesterday, the TV was going on, and you know who was in that screen? Some song was going on, and you know who was dancing? I said, sir, how would I know? Ushama is thinking, what sort of a question is that? You watch TV, how would I know who is dancing there? It was our very dear Rajnikant was dancing. And why? And the moment I saw that, did I not tell? I said that why people are attracted to that man? Not that he is a charming young man, not that he is got a six-pack, he's got a height, he's a fair man. None of that character is got. He's bald, he's dark, no complexion, nothing. But why people fall in love? Because of his persona, because of his spiritual character, the values he believes in, what he brings out through the role. But he is an actor. He has been thinking of acting, doing acting, how he has been. But why? What brings him to the forefront? Why people like him? Because of the true spiritual personality of a person reflects through his detachment.
It's total involvement in that.
The total involvement explains the second statement. As you think, so you become. But being a person, what he is, what attracted what attracts people towards him
People.
is his attitude of detachment. Moment you clamor attention, the moment you clamor something, you lose it. The fact that if somebody is getting it is because that person must be practicing some level of detachment. We may not know it directly, but indirectly we'll have to decipher. Is it clear, sir?
Yes, clear, Guruji.
Right, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Welcome, Hariji. Most welcome. At last, Setuji also has accepted that it's a law. Correct, Setuji? Vasantama, please give one more sweet on my behalf to Setuji today. Huh? Of cows, I am Kamadhuk. Kamadhenu is the mythological cow of the great sage Vasishtha. Because it appears in the mythological story. Don't literally believe that it's a real cow. It's a mythological story. It's a mythological cow. And Kamadhenu had the ability to grant any wish or satisfy any desire of a person. So any desire you want, anything that you desire, Kamadhenu had the ability to satisfy. Asha Junior, are you in Pune? You're in Pune, no? Okay.
Yes.
I sent Kamadhenu to you and asked, what do you want? What will you ask?
What will I ask? Good question.
You can seek privately answer
Wisdom.
to me. Don't worry, you won't answer in the group.
Loads of things.
Oh, loads of things. Okay. Very good. Please get
Yeah.
the list ready. By heart the
Okay.
list, because the moment the cow comes, you can ask. Okay. No, why I thought of you, because imagine I thought if Kamadhenu comes into my life, what will I ask? Give me the best vada pav.
Ah.
I want the best vada pav on planet Earth, and that's why in Pune, when I come to Pune, you have to take me to the best vada pav.
Sure.
Haan ji.
Your wish is granted.
See,
Will
you are
be
now
done.
you are my Kamadhenu.
Okay.
now, obviously, Kamadhenu here is symbolizing a particular concept. What do you gather when you say Kamadhenu? When does Kamadhenu come into your life? Okay, that's my question. Kamadhenu is fulfiller of desires. So my question is now very pure Vedantic question. When does one get Kamadhenu in one's life, where every desire of yours gets fulfilled?
When you're not after the desires.
Okay, then what are you doing then? Jobless fellow, doing nothing, purposeless life. No, what are you doing? If you're not running behind it, what you must be doing something, no?
Not mati. Yeah, you're working towards it, but you're not attached towards it.
Please, I don't want this philosophy. I'm already tired of the word attach. If you use anybody uses the word attachment for the next only 1 more minute class. Okay, next 10 minutes, anybody use the word attachment, you will be permanently blocked. Gayatri Ma, block them from these wisdom classes.
It's so fresh, and it's been discussed so much, and it's like you feel like you've understood it.
I am sick and tired of attachment. Please don't.
Okay.
No. On a serious note, what is the principle to be in a position where you bring Kamadhenu into your life?
So my answer is still, what the immediate thought that comes to my mind is still similar to what we have just discussed right now. Like when you're not like when you're doing things that brings you joy or what your passion is, but you're not after, ye hona hi hai, this is what I want, this is how it should be. So when you're not after that, but you're pursuing it for the joy that it is giving, the activities, the work or the activities bringing you joy, I guess that is when you get much more than what you set out to.
Right. Okay. In fact, just as a cue to everybody, Ashrama is answering from a passive voice. But if you answer the same thing for an active voice, you got it. Both are same, other side of the coin. You said you can bring Kamadhen into your life when you said you don't act on desires, right? That is a passive voice. What is the active voice of the same thing? Think along, ma. Think along, Ashrama. Setuji is not self. You mean to say only on self-realization you get that reach that state? Not necessarily. Kamadhenu is where every desire of yours gets fulfilled. How do you relatively also it's applicable? What is again, this is a principle I'm talking about. There's a principle that justifies it. Any idea, Vasantama?
I think being a true karma yogi.
What does it mean?
You all your actions are done without any fruits, desire for any fruits of that action.
What is the essence of karma yoga? There lies the answer. The essence of karma yoga
do selfless service.
What are the words? Karma yoga, can we explain in one word? What is that word? Sanskrit word. It is very close to karma, very close to karma yoga, which is the active voice of not acting on desire. It's not tapas, Gayatrima. Share that verse, please. Padminima, it's not Shraddha. It's not Shraddha. It is the word is yajna. No, this is the famous verse from the 3rd chapter, 10th verse, where he says, Saha yajna praja shruštva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam eshavostvishtva kamadhuk. So the word kamadhuk comes here. When do you reach that state of kamadhenu? When does kamadhenu come into your life? When you work in a life with a spirit of yajna. So the Prajapati, the creator, having created mankind, in the very beginning, he has created you with the spirit of yajna. And once you do, by this shall you propagate, and let this be the milch cow of your desired objects. Means when you work with the spirit of yajna, which is for a higher cause, which is karma yoga, when you don't think of yourself and your needs and your desires, you sacrifice, you burnt your desires in the process of serving a higher cause, then what happens? Lord sends Kamadhenu into your life, all your needs are taken care of. Why? Because you have never bothered to think of yourself and your needs. Kamadhenu provided to take care of your needs. So this is the authority to the concept when he says Kamadhenu. It's not to be taken as a mere mythological cow. It is to be taken whether you live a life of Shantima. This is what you mean living a life of deserving. When you are disinterested in your own personal well-being, your own security, your own protection. You are not thinking of your own self, but you work for a higher cause, a larger cause. In the spirit of yajna, which is sacrifice, the outcome of that is you will have kamadhenu in your life. Means anything that you desire will be given to. Because you have risen above the desire, as Ashama said, you risen above the desire. But the best, the better way of putting it is in an active voice. That's why I said you work for a higher cause, which is not to work for desire. And then what happens? All your desires will get automatically fulfilled. Kamadhenu comes. But when Kamadhenu comes, don't forget the yajna attitude. Carry on doing yajna. Let Kamadhenu be there. Where? In the backyard. Don't bring Kamadhenu into your living room and say, oh, let me get all what I desire now. I want 75-inch plasma TV. I want this luxury. I want this comfort. Allah, never mind. A cow has to be in the cow shed behind. Let it be there. It should not become the primary focus. The object of desire should always be in the back front. The desires must be in the back front, never in the forefront. So we'll come back again to this verse, and the second half of the verse we'll take it up next week. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.